What is Cloud NAC? In the next 5 minutes, I'll show you what it is, how it works, and why identity, not infrastructure, now defines how modern enterprises control network access. Hello, my name is Simranjeet, and I work as a sales engineer here at Cloudi-Fi. So let's jump in further. Every network connection is a security decision. So when an employee joins a Wi-Fi, a contractor plugs into a wired port, when a device suddenly appears on the network, the same 3 questions come up every single time. Who is this? Should they be allowed in? And if yes, what should they be allowed to access? That is the role of network access control, or NAC. The simplest way to understand NAC is to think about checking into a hotel. Traditional NAC works like an old school hotel. What you're allowed to do depends on which door you walk through. Coming through the front entrance, you get one set of privileges. Coming through a side entrance, and you may get another. Your name might be checked against the list, but only as a sidestep. The real rules live on the doors, not with you. Cloudi-Fi's identity-driven NAC works differently. It's like a modern hotel, where the system already knows who you are. Your reservation, your role, what you're allowed to access, it doesn't matter whether you come through the lobby, the garage, or the pool entrance. The rules follow the person, not the door. And just as importantly, it doesn't matter what hotel brand it is either. The experience remains consistent because the access logic is centralized and identity-driven. That is exactly how Cloudi-Fi approaches NAC across multi-vendor network environments. The problem with traditional NAC is that it was built for a different era. They rely on complex on-prem appliances that can be difficult to scale across distributed environments. They usually think infrastructure first, like ports, MAC addresses, VLANs, and site-specific rules, with identity added as just one input among many. And because policies are often tied to a specific network stack, they don't translate cleanly across vendors or locations. But modern enterprises need something more flexible. They need to secure employees, contractors, managed devices, and IoT endpoints across wired and wireless, across multiple sites, and very often across multiple network vendors. So what is Cloudi-Fi NAC? This is where Cloudi-Fi NAC comes into the picture. Cloudi-Fi extends identity-based access control to every network connection. It authenticates users and devices before they access the network and then grants limits or blocks access based on policy. It's built on 802.1x and Cloud Radius, centralizing authentication and authorization across wired and wireless networks. No on-prem NAC appliance is required, and this is big. And crucially, this is not a rip and replace solution. Cloudi-Fi works with your existing network infrastructure and your existing identity stack to simplify NAC and to align every access decision with user identity and device context. So here's how it works end-to-end. Step 1, a user or device connects to the network. Step 2, authentication is initiated through the switch, access point, or controller using a standard 802.1x and Radius workflow. Step 3, Cloudi-Fi Radius validates that identity against trusted sources like Microsoft Entra ID, LDAP, Active Directory, or certificates. Step 4, based on authentication result, Cloudi-Fi returns the appropriate access policy. That can be a dynamic VLAN, or an access control list, or a role-based access rule. Step 5, which is the last one, the network then decides to enforce the decision. So, the policy is centralized in the cloud. I repeat, policy is centralized in the cloud while enforcement stays on the network infrastructure you already have in place. So, let's talk about identity and authentication. Cloudi-Fi supports multiple authentication methods, so you can secure different users and endpoints with the right level of assurance. That includes standard 802.1x, certificate-based authentication with EAP TLS, Microsoft Entra ID, LDAP, and Active Directory, and MAC-based authentication for IoT and legacy devices that can't do 802.1x. And for organizations adopting a certificate-first strategy, Cloudi-Fi also integrates with PKI and MDM platforms like Intune to deliver secure, scalable onboarding without relying on passwords. So, authentication is only the starting point. So, access control becomes more consistent. Once identity is verified, Cloudi-Fi makes sure every user and every device gets exactly the right level of access. An employee may receive full corporate access, a contractor may be limited to a single application, a departmental user may be placed on a dedicated segment, an IoT device may only be allowed to reach the specific service it actually needs. This is where dynamic VLANs, access control lists, and role-based controls become truly powerful. And it's how Cloudi-Fi NAC helps implement Zero Trust directly at the network edge. That means we verify every connection, apply least privileges, and reduce risk from unmanaged or overprivileged endpoints. And this is one of Cloudi-Fi's clearest differentiators. Policy does not depend on network brand. Cloudi-Fi is built for multi-vendor environments. That means you can apply one set of consistent identity-driven access policies across every site, even when your infrastructure mixes vendors like Aruba, Cisco, Meraki, and others. The network's role is to enforce policy. The identity layer makes the decision. So access control becomes more consistent, more scalable, and much easier to manage across distributed environments. Lastly, Cloud NAC is no longer just about controlling ports or assigning network segments. It's about making smarter access decisions based on identity and context and enforcing them consistently across every connection, every site, and every vendor environment. With Cloudi-Fi, you can simplify NAC, strengthen segmentation, and extend Zero Trust to every network connection. Remember, the rules follow the identity, not the door. We invite you to explore Cloud NAC and talk to our team to see Cloudi-Fi in action. Thank you.